Hi there, welcome to Pretty Ninja, and today we're going to be taking a look at Destiny 2. So first up we have the user interface. So the main reason why I call it the user interface rather than the menus in this review is the fact that it is fully integrated into the game. So what I mean by that is not necessarily a case of you start up the game, you have your menus, you find a server, you join to a game. The menu is part of the game, which I thoroughly enjoy, and it doesn't make it feel like a kind of tedious experience either. It's very clean, it is very in-depth, but it's not complicated or hard to use by any stretch of the imagination. And I also really like the fact that you have an interactive kind of NPC in the form of the Ghost. The reason why I like this personally so much is that I do feel that the best games for user experience generally have an item or an NPC that they can kind of react with to get the best kind of output of the game. In this case, a Ghost. For example, Fallout 4 has the Pip-Boy. And it really does add something to the game. It does make it feel a lot more fluid, and a lot easier to use, and just make the whole kind of gaming kind of experience much better. So let's move on to the HUD, aka what you see when you're in game, and it's very clean, and it's very simple, and it's really nice. Destiny 2 just feels very comfortable, it's very light. So all of your key information's in your bottom left, so your grenade charge, your melee charge, your what I call the whirlpool charge for healing or boosting up your guns, which we'll talk on to about later. As well as your 3 types of ammo for your primary, secondary and your super. Then you just have a very simple bar going across the top, which turns yellow once your super is ready. And it's just very simple, and it's very easy on the eye. It's not distracting you from what you're searching for or anything like that. So yeah, it's a very nice HUD. So that's the user interface. Destiny 2 has probably got one of the best user interfaces out there in the game universe right now, and this section is going to get the Pretty Ninja stamp of approval, and it's going to get a 10 out of 10. So the next topic is graphics. Destiny 2 really on the graphic front can be described in one very simple word, and that is beautiful. It is an absolutely beautifully crafted game. Compared to Destiny 1, there's not actually that many impressive changes, and I'd say that slightly disappointingly. There are obviously some games, not going to name any, that will release an absolute cracker of a game, multi-award winning, way ahead of its time on the graphics, and then all of a sudden, the next one, they try to bump it up and it just feels worse and more tacky. So in a way, I suppose we should be blessed. That is a bit like Destiny 1 because it was an absolutely beautiful and fantastic game. But you kind of expect a little bit more from Destiny 2. However, when you look into the armor and the guns in the game, as well as like the Cabal armor, and the Vandal armor and the Scion armors, and even the kind of flares that are coming off the Taken, it is very beautiful. But it's just not quite enough for me to go, and that's a shame. I think it's a fabulous game, but it just doesn't have that sort of factor to it anymore. And that's about it on the graphics front. If you've played Destiny 1, you're not going to be that surprised by how Destiny 2 looks. And I suppose that's what I'm getting at here. It's still a fabulous looking game. It's just not that well. So for that reason, we can only give it a 9 out of 10. Almost, but not quite. So next on the list is gameplay. So in regards to the gameplay, the actual formula is very, very similar to Destiny 1, which I think was a brilliant move. I'm actually, in this instance, really glad that they didn't move away from the Destiny 1 system, aka the way that the player moves or interacts, the way that the guns work, apart from the mods, as well as, you know, the guns, all guns have the same kind of aspects to them, unlike Destiny 1, which I know hasn't pleased the community, but if I'm honest, I think that brings it to a fairer level, and with the modifications you can kind of style it to what you kind of would like rather than what the game's just going to give you. I think that's actually what they're trying to do, and I think people are looking past that, so I'm seeing the other side of it, and I'm kind of backing Destiny 2 and Bungie on that particular note. So Destiny 2 actually, in my opinion, has a fantastic storyline. It's not too short, it's not too long, but I would fully recommend that you do actually focus on the storyline straight from the off, because you won't have access to the tower. I can't say much more because that will kind of ruin the storyline, but then again, if you've seen the kind of gameplay trailers, you would have known what happened. But it's definitely worth playing through, and the first lot of DLC is actually probably my favourite DLC out of all of the Destiny DLCs that have ever been released. Just about edges it out over the Taken King for me personally. I just really like the kind of technical aspect and the way that the Vex, the way that they look with the older kind of vintage looking Vex from Vendetta Time Zone come into it. I really, really like that touch. However, I can't believe that I'm about to say this, but it's too easy to get exotics. It's too easy. It's Destiny 1 used to absolutely grind the crap out of doing nightfalls, out of doing strikes, and you would like wait for hours in the tower to try and get a raid party together just so you can get that key exotic of the week. You know, and it was like, it was a proper achievement when you earn that exotic. It was really hard to do, but I have unlocked more exotics in this game than I ever did in Destiny 1, and I played Destiny 1 for a good 18 months. Admittedly, I wasn't sadly the sort of person that did raids that much, because I just I couldn't find the groups. Every time I went into one, someone would always leave and it would just completely bugger up for everyone. Really annoying, but it happens. Just like Destiny 1, the game is incredibly in-depth, with shaders now for certain guns, for certain pieces of armor. Like I mentioned a bit earlier, mods are now available for your guns, so you can actually kind of tweak the way that you want the gun to work for you, which I personally like, as I mentioned earlier. You know, it is very, very in-depth, and they've just updated the factions, and you actually get weekly rewards depending on what faction does best. So if your faction does the best, so aka it's just been announced for the first week that New Monarchy have won, then you will actually gain a special item which no other faction party can get, which I actually think is a really, really cool feature. Sadly, I chose the wrong faction, but hey ho, never mind. And one other thing, people on streaming services and possibly on YouTube are creating videos saying that the game is dead. The game is not dead. Yes, on release 4.5 million people bought the game. This could have been in the US or Australia. I'm not quite sure. I just purely repeating what I've heard on a Say No to Rage streaming channel, which is actually really, really good, so make sure to check his channel out. You know, and he makes a very, very good point to all of his viewers, which is, yes, when the game was released the first weekend, there was 4.5 million players. Yes, of course that's going to be. It's just been a game release. But a quarter of the year on, and the fact there's still 1.5 million different players playing weekly, if not every other daily, is incredible. You know, not the same people are going to be playing that game constantly. So if you're watching this thinking, oh, that game's dead, no, it really, really isn't. You can't just go off numbers on a piece of paper. Play the game, look for yourself. It's actually really busy, really, really active. So cut out all of this shit in regards to the game is dead. It's not. Get on with it. Play the game. There isn't anything wrong with the game. It just may not be as great as you hoped it was going to be. I understand disappointment, but don't just start branding, oh, the game is dead, the game is dead, oh, I really like this game mode, and it's really shit in this game, so therefore the game is dead. The game is dead. Quite frankly, oh man, that done my throat out. So after that deep rant, we're going to give this game a 8 out of 10. So next up is game modes. Now Destiny 2 has loads of things to do, as I mentioned earlier, but let me just reel them off to you, okay? So obviously we have the story missions, then we have the Crucible, which does have the features of a competitive game mode, as well as just a quick play mode. There's also Trial of Horus, there's strikes, heroic strikes, there's also nightfalls, raids, patrols. You also have public events, which kind of come around here and there, and will just randomly pop up in front of you. But the one thing with Destiny 2 is that it now actually shows you when and where they're going to be available, which I think is fantastic. You also have something called the Lost Zones, which is where vandals possibly steal some cargo and you have to go and destroy it, or there may be a new kind of vandal leader rising up and you have to exterminate him. That's a really cool and fun public game mode. You also have adventures, which is new, but these aren't actually open to the public. Once you start these off, they are with you and your fire team. And finally, we have the quests. Now the quests, again, are not open to public, well, unless they haven't done them already, but again, they're kind of just locked in within your fire team. So you'll notice you'll accept a quest, your screen will go black, and then you'll notice that everybody that was there is completely gone, apart from obviously the NPCs, so the Vandals or the Vex or the Cabal, and so on and so forth. But in regards to scoring, we're actually going to give this section a 9 out of 10. That leads us to our last category, which is problems. I believe that there is a problem with the Trials of Osiris game mode, and the ranking system on that is broken or doesn't exist. So that's a problem. But also I'm actually going to downgrade it a little bit because of the people of Destiny 2. And you kind of forget about games in that sort of way. A lot of reviews are about, oh yeah, this gun looks absolutely amazing and everything like that. But actually, the game is highly affected by the people that play it. And at the moment, I believe that the people that play it aren't positive and they're not backing Bungie that well. They seem to be very quick to criticize them. But you got to remember, Bungie have released so many fantastic games over the course of the last, I don't know, decade. I think they've been out for at least 10 years. But they brought out the original Halo trilogy, as well as and Halo 3 multiplayer was one of the best multiplayers in the world. Yet some people are saying, oh my god, the fact that it's now 4-on-4 is absolutely ridiculous. It's like, dude, it's fine. It's different. It's more challenging. And, it's I feel like it actually adds something to the game. So, and I guess I'm not everyone, and I guess that my views are kind of unique. But I really do feel like people need to get behind Bungie. Yes, tell them that there are problems. They're not going to mind if you say, Bungie, if there's this issue, we really want you to fix it as a community. But if we all go, oh, I'm not going to play this game, the game is dead purely because the multiplayer is absolutely rubbish and everything like that. The multiplayer is not rubbish. Your attitude is rubbish. Get back on board. Get back on the game. I guarantee you, if you play it quite often enough, you will really enjoy it. Give it a chance and give it a go. But that's the only issues I kind of have with the game. Otherwise, as I've actually talked about through this video, I think this is an incredibly good game. So we're going to give this section an 8 out of 10. So there we go, guys. That is Destiny 2 in a nutshell. Very in-depth nutshell, but it's in a nutshell nonetheless. If you haven't noticed, there is a subscribe button down there. Press it. Press it now. If you've got to this point, I deserve your attention, and you need to press that little bell sign next to it, alright? So you get some Pretty Ninja notifications. I will try to be getting videos, maybe 2 videos out a week. Some of them you really will want to be keeping an eye out because they are going to be awesome, if I don't say so myself. And I'm going to be doing a few more reviews. I'm actually on holiday next week, so sorry if there is no content, but I'm going to try and make sure that something is lined up. And keep an eye out for Thursdays. Thursdays are obviously throwbacks. As you can see here on my wall, I have a lot of old school games. Let's do some throwbacks, shall we? Let's do them together. I'm really sorry, that was really weird. But until next time, guys, it was lovely speaking to you, and I'll catch you out there in the Destiny 2 universe. But until next time, see you laters.